Hey everyone, so I am back with another amazing video of data analyst project, and in today's video we will be implementing the end-to-end Power BI dashboard for the most common use case of food delivery application, and that is creating the end-to-end sales dashboard of the Zomato application. So we will be using a data set and will create the business KPIs around it, what kind of business insights we can pull out from that data of food delivery application, and how to create the insightful sales dashboard for the stakeholders. So lots of learnings will be involved in this end-to-end project. So stay there, watch it till the very end, and implement this project, add it in your resume. That is gonna be super helpful for your interviews. The dataset link has been given in the description, and make sure to give a like to this video in the big numbers so that this kind of end-to-end projects can reach to maximum number of aspiring data analysts. And if you want me to create the end-to-end projects on the different topics, different tech stack, let me know in the comment section. We will be bringing those projects for you, that is my assurity. And if you're new to the channel, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon. And a very important announcement for all the aspiring data professionals who are working on Tableau and looking for the certifications, then without working on the hands-on projects, industry level projects, not just the easy level but medium to advanced level projects, those things will be next to impossible because the practical understanding is needed. And for that one, our Tableau projects for the data analyst bootcamp with certification preparation is starting from the 24th of August. Live classes will be starting for that one, and in this boot camp we will be working on 5 end-to-end projects, starting from the basic steps from the requirement gathering till its deployment, optimization, business KPIs, the whole journey of these amazing 5 end-to-end projects, which you can mention in your resume, and your chances of getting shortlisted will be sky high. So that is going to start. Live classes will be starting from 24th of August. Hurry up, just few 20-25 seats are left, and link has been given in the description. You can still use the early bird offer, that code is also given in the description, or you can visit www.growdataskills.com. and you already know that on Grow Data Skills what kind of quality we are bringing into our boot camps by keeping the things very affordable for all the learners, plus the dedicated placement assistance, profile building, resume building, LinkedIn profile optimization, tons of quizzes, assignments, interview guidance, interview questions. All these things are waiting for you, and dedicated modules for the certificate preparation with strategies and the mock questions. You will be getting the live doubt support after the each live class, plus you will be part of private Discord group where you can ask your doubts 24/7 offline, and your mentor will be responding on to that one. And in case if you miss any live class, then don't worry, you will be getting the recording part of it, which you can access from the website and from the mobile application. And you can see on your screen that how our students are learning these things practically and cracking their dream jobs with the dream salary package, and you can also be one of them. So what are you waiting for? Be a part of this boot camp. Hurry up, enroll fast. All the details have been given in the description.
Hi everyone, good morning. So today's project will be around a food delivery app. We'll consider different metrics for dashboarding. We'll create multiple pages and a complete dashboard and see some visualizations, advanced and basics, and make the dashboard dynamic. So I've opened the Power BI desktop application, and let me just bring the data. So today we'll be working on multiple data sets. So we'll have to consider creating data model also. In yesterday's project, we only had one data set. So data modeling was one area we did not touch upon. But today we have data across multiple different Excel files. So we'll bring all the data, create relationship across all of these data sets, and then move towards building our dashboard. Okay. Let me just quickly bring all the data sets. Okay, today is class 9. So these are all the Excel files that we have. One is for food, one is for menu, orders, order type, restaurants, and users. As I said, today's dashboard would be around the food delivery app. So all of these data sets hold respective information about that. Okay, let me start loading one by one. Okay, this is my food. Okay, let me load this. So when you have multiple Excel files, there are two options to load all the Excel files. One way is by doing this, like you select each of the Excel files one by one, and then you load it. Okay. But it might be a bit time taking because it will load one, then you will have to again prompt to another one, then load another one. So the second way to do this, I think I've done in one of the assignments also, is to put all the Excel files in one folder, and then you can point to the folder also. Like if you go here, go to the get data, more, you'll see there is an option for folder also. In my folder, there are many other things also, so I'm not pointing to the folder. But if in case you have multiple files, you can always you can always put these Excel files in one folder and point to that one folder, so that all your Excel files will be loaded in the transform data, and then you can create multiple copies of that so that you can extract different files from it. So that is also one option if you don't want to do it manually one by one, like the way I'm doing. So I've loaded food, I've loaded menu. Comparatively bigger data sets today. So yeah, as you can clearly see, so it will take a bit of time initially to load the data. Also, when you do the transformations in the transform query editor, when you do load, save and close, then also it might take a bit of time. And it is a normal scenario when you have big data. Okay, it's still, I would say, a smaller data set, unlike the way we work extensively when we work on big data, where the data size is very big and sometimes it takes a lot of time to load the data. But always the first time load takes more time. After that, Power BI behaves normally. Also, the second thing is I also got one of the queries from a few students that my Power BI is behaving abruptly. It slows down your system. It takes a lot of time to load. The reason if that happens is because of your system configuration. Power BI occupies a lot of RAM space. Okay. So if you have a lower configuration on the RAM side, it might take a lot of time and also your system might hang, etc. So the people who work on Power BI normally have at least 32 GBs of RAM when we work. Below that, I'm not saying Power BI will not work, but it would take like eternity sometimes to load the entire Power BI application. Okay, I've loaded food, menu, orders. Let me just load the last two, which is restaurant. Okay. And we have a last one for users. So as you can see the name of the files itself, one file which is food will have the details of all the food orders that have been placed. Second would be menu, will be holding all the different outlets menu in terms of what all food items they offer. Then we have orders. This is regarding the different orders that people make, the details of the orders. Then we have restaurants, again, the details of the restaurants, what menu they are providing, what is the cost, etc. And finally, the users. Users, you can see what is the information inside the user. It's the user ID, name, age, gender, marital status. This is the personal information about a particular user through which you can understand your user demographic. What type of user are buying what kind of food. This kind of analysis can be done when you have this user information. So these are the 5 data sets that we have initially that we'll be loading, creating models, and then we'll start creating dashboard on top of it. Okay. This is the last one. Let it load. I will open the transform data. Okay. The last one is loading. I'll give it a minute maybe. From next class onwards, I'll maybe preload the data set so that we can save this time. Okay. So we have all the 5 data sets loaded. I'll quickly go to the transform data and do some kind of transformation, whatever needed to clean this particular data. So the first thing that I see in this food data set is the columns have not been loaded correctly. You can see the column names FID, item, veg or non-veg is coming here, while the column names are coming as column 1, column 2, and column 3. So I'll just go here, go to the transform, use first row as header. Okay. So we have now the correct column names, ID, item, veg or non-veg, preceded by the data. Data looks good. I'll move on to the next one, which is menu. Okay. In the menu, I see the row headers are clearly correct. Menu ID, row ID, FID, cuisine, and the prices are correct. What will I do is I will merge it with the food data. Why? Because I need this column, the column that was there here, right? There is a column in the food, this column, veg or non-veg. I would be needing these in terms of my calculations later. So I need this inside this menu table itself. Because I have the cuisine, I have the price. I just want to understand that whether it's a veg dish or it's a non-veg dish. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go to home. I'll go to merge queries. Okay. And I will merge this with the food data. So now you can see there is a common column between the two data sets, which is FID. Okay. Basis this FID, I'll just merge these two data set, left outer join, do an OK. And you see this table comes up here. I just need only one column from that particular table, which is, so I'll go here. I will unselect all of these. I will unselect this part. I will just bring in this particular column, which is veg or non-veg. Okay. Because it's a bigger data set, and anytime you do any kind of transformation, be it merging, be it bringing the data or anything of that sort, every time it will take a bit of time to have those changes incorporated in your data set, because it is doing for every row. Whatever calculation you have done, whatever matching or merging you have done, it will be doing that for every row of your entire data set. So sometimes it takes a bit of time. Okay, so it is reflected here. I will just see the values which are there here. Click on load more. When you have a big data set and you want to see the unique values inside that inside the column, it normally shows up here. But if the data size is bigger, you would see a button called load more at the end. Always click on the button to actually understand what is inside that data, because it shows a preview of the unique values inside that particular column on big data sets. Okay. The moment I clicked on load more, it is again loading the entire column to understand what are all the unique values inside that column. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is just to check if there are null values or anything else. I think there should be null values after the merge. And if there are any null values, I will then go ahead and replace those null values with something like others, etc. Just creating a different category itself. Veg, non-veg, and wherever the blank values are there, I will put them in the category header of others. It's a very big data set now. You can see 22 MB is already loaded. Okay, I'll wait. Like you see, there are null values. So what I'll do is, I just wanted to confirm. I'll go to replace values. I'll replace my null with a header others in this particular column. Okay. Now, the moment this thing is happening here, it means the changes are coming in, whatever changes you have done. Okay. So meanwhile, the changes are reflecting. Let me just see what are all the other changes that I have done in other tables. Okay. So now this column is added into this particular table menu, which is veg or non-veg. And also we have replaced, if there are any null values that came at the time of merge, we have replaced that with the value others. Okay. I'll move on to my third table, which is orders. Now orders, again, the column headers are correct. But we want to mix this orders with the restaurant. Because in the restaurant table, you would see there would be a column called city. Okay. In the orders table, we do not have any information regarding where the orders were placed by. You can see order date, sale quantity, sales amount, currency, user ID, RID, etc. is given. But you do not know the demographic information in this particular table. So again, I will go ahead, I'll click on merge. I will merge it with the restaurant table. Do we have a common column across these two tables? I think yes. This RID and ID are same. Okay. And I'll do a left outer match. Join count kind would be left outer, and I'll do an OK. It will bring the entire table again the moment you join, but we are not interested in the entire table. We are just interested in only one column, which is city. So I'll just bring in the city column. Whenever you do any kind of join, always remember that on merging or joining the tables, it might happen. How does merge happen? It always finds, how did we merge the two tables? We said, find the ID in this table and find the similar ID in this table. And whenever you find the similar ID, there is a merge, there is a join. But what if there is no similar ID? In that case, it will result into a null value after the merge. So always after doing the merge, take it as a good practice to look out for the unique values. And if the unique values have null, know how to deal with that null depending upon your use case. In our use case, we cannot go ahead and delete the values because these values are very important. So what I'll do is, if there are any null in the city column, I'll again replace that with the others. Okay. Let it replace. Okay, the values have been replaced. Now you see there are two columns. One column is sales quantity and one column is sales amount. In my dashboard, I want to put a filter for quantity or amount so that when I select filter on the quantity, it only shows me the quantity value. And when I filter on amount, it only shows me the amount value. But the way right now the data is there, I would not be able to do this directly. So what I would need to do is I need to select these two columns, quantity and amount. And then what I'll do is I'll just unpivot these. Just see what exactly happens. Now quantity and amount will become the unique values of a particular column, and there would be another column which will just hold these values, like you see here. Now there is a column called either quantity or attribute, and then there is another column called value which holds that value. Now what I'll do is I'll just rename this attribute to be of column name type. Okay. And the unique values inside this column is sales quantity and sales amount. Okay. What I'll do is I will not make it like sales quantity and sales amount. Rather, I will rename sales quantity to quantity and sales amount to amount. So I'll go here. First of all, this is my value. I want to replace. I'll copy this. I'll go to one second. I'll select this column. I'll go to replace value. And I'm saying replace wherever you find sales quantity with the word quantity. Okay. Similarly, I will do that for sales amount. I will make sales amount rather than sales amount. I just want amount. So that this column will have only two unique values. One is quantity, one is amount. And then in my dashboard later, I will use this column as a slicer to either slice for quantity or for amount. Similarly, I'll go here. I'll just select this value, sales amount. Okay, I'll select this column, go to replace value, put sales amount here and amount. Okay. Now this column will have only two unique values, no sales added to those names. This is just for understanding. We still can continue with the same nomenclature, but now it would be more, like I said in previous classes when I explained you dashboarding, that nomenclature also plays a very important role. So make sure that whatever values are there, column names are there, are very specific to the ask, are very specific to what data you are holding inside that. Okay. Let me just see if there are other tables I want to modify. This is my restaurant table. The column names are correct. I've already used this restaurant table to merge it with my previous table, so I don't need to do any particular change here. Let me check for my users table. Even the users table, the column headers are coming as correct, and I don't want to change anything else also from here. I want to keep my user data specifically separate from all the other data. So we are good with the transformation. So I'll go and click on close and apply. All the tables where you have done the transformation, only those tables will be loading here. Like we have done the transformations in 3 tables, you can see 3 tables are loading here. So after these 3 tables get loaded, we'll then finally get started by creating our visuals on this dashboard. There's a question, meanwhile, in a scenario where the files are too big, wouldn't it be beneficial to feed the data to SQL? Then that's very correct, Dipanshu. When you have bigger data sets, when we are talking about data in millions of records, etc. So what do we do is, you always have the option when it comes to Power BI and again paid subscription, premium subscription, you always have the option to get the data here, clean it, transform it, model the data, everything can be done here. And then build your DAX, etc. on top of it. But the reason I told, but the problem with this is that it might take a lot of time to load the data, to process the data because of Power BI capabilities. Okay. So in that case, what do we do is sometimes when my data size is huge, there are a lot of data sets to be pre-processed, transformed, cleaned. There are a lot of steps needs to be done. So we do that separately, either in Python or SQL, or if it's big data, sometimes we do it in Spark also. Mostly this is sometimes done by data engineers, while data analysts just take the data, put in data warehouses. Otherwise, you can do it here also. It's totally up to the use case and the business you are catering to. So if the client thinks that it's consuming a lot of time and space here to load the data and everything, you might come and suggest that I would want to do it in a separate place, process the data there, put the data, process data finally will be pulled here. No processing will be done here. That's totally up to us and the use case and the business we are catering to. Okay. Data is loaded, cleaned and transformed. Basic cleaning and transforming is done. After that, we'll obviously create a lot of measures to build our dashboards. So let's start creating our first dashboard. Okay. So for that, what I'll do is I will create a separate table today, and I will call that table as a measure table, inside which I will put all my measures. So what I'll do is I'll go here, I'll click on new table, and I will call this as, so whenever you try to create a new table, it will show you like this, okay? Because there is no formula to create this table. I'm just creating this as a placeholder to put all my measures inside a single header. Because today we have 5-6 tables and I don't want to search for where did I created that measure. Anyways, whenever we put the measure, that doesn't change anything because measure doesn't get attached to a particular table. Just creating it as a placeholder here. Click on enter. Now you can see a table got created. By default, it will show a column here. This is by default functionality. We are not interested. Right click and any new measure that you want to create, you will click create here so that you can arrange it inside only one table, which is measure table. So I'll create my new measure and I'll call it as sale value. Today we'll be creating a lot of measures. First is my sale value. Okay. So we have a value column inside my orders table. I'm just summing up that value to understand how much sale the company is making. So just summing up the value, sum, and I'll just say value, and it will automatically say orders value. Okay. So this is my first measure that I have created, which is sale value. Now what I'll do is I'll just put my sale value inside a card. So it shows 989 million is your total sale based on the data set that you have. Okay. We'll move forward. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add a slicer. I'll maybe add a basic slicer. And in this slicer, what I'll do is I will add the column type. Remember the type column that we just created by unpivoting the data for quantity and amount. I will just put that here. Okay. So that when you select amount, this shows only the amount of sale, and this shows the quantity of sale. Okay, let me just make it better. I'll go to the slicer. I do not like it this way. I like it in the tile form. Okay, I'll go to slicer setting, selection, or maybe make it a new slicer. Because I want it like this. I'll go here, layout. I need only 2 rows. Actually, I need only 1 row and 2 columns. Okay, and I don't want this title, so I'll remove this title. And I just need this like this, amount and quantity. This is my filter, or I should say this is my slicer to select whether I'm selecting my amount value or am I selecting my quantity value. I can go ahead and change it more. Like for example, I can just once. I prefer to have rounded rectangles, so I'll go here and select rounded rectangles, and rounding would be only, let's putting some random value here, 30. Okay. Again, this will slice my total sale value based on either amount or quantity. Okay. So this is my first slicer that I have added. I will reuse this slicer. Like this slicer will slice not only this visual, but all the coming visuals that are about to come on your dashboard. Okay. This is an important visual. Also, I see the values are coming on the left side. I will just go here. Go to the layout. No, go to the call out values and make it center aligned. Okay, this looks much better. So I've created this sale value as a card. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste this here. Okay, so now what I'll do is I will just go to so what I want is I want 2 separate cards. One is for amount, one is for quantity. Okay, so sale value, as I already know, is the total sale. So what I'll do is this is my total sale. Okay, and I don't have any filter attached to it. So what I'll do is I'll drag my type here, and for this, because the amount is selected, it will show me just the amount. Okay, and let me just unselect this, and this one will show me the quantity. This will show me the amount, and this will show me the quantity. Okay, I'll just rename these. How do I rename the value which is appearing here in any particular visual? So whenever we create a visual, it automatically detects the column name and it shows you that here. Because you selected sale value here, it is showing sale value here. Again, in this particular card, you have selected sale value, so it is showing you sale value here. So what you can do is just double click here and you can rename the column. The actual column doesn't get renamed. It only renames here in the field section. Okay, it didn't rename. Let me do that again. This is my amount. Click on enter only, then it will reflect. And similarly, for this one, I will say this is my quantity. The other way to do that is just add the title dynamically. Go here and add the title. Title always comes on the top. There, whatever you want to write, you will write. But the other way is it automatically detects the header icons. These comes as part of the name of the column. So if your column name is what you want as the name of your title of your any visual, then in that case, you can just go ahead and rename it then and there. It doesn't mean that the column will change. Rather, it will just change the values. It will change the title. Okay. Now what happens is the moment I say amount, this becomes blank. And the moment I say quantity, this becomes blank, obviously, because I want this to not change. I want this particular slicer that I have to select and filter and slice all the other visuals that will come on my dashboard. But I don't want them to change this. This should always remain this, irrespective of whether you select amount or whether you select quantity. Okay, because it is representing amount and quantity itself. So what I'll do is I'll just select this. 1 second. select the slicer, go to format, and then you will see something called edit interactions. Okay, this edit interaction is an option through which you can stop or you can forcefully decide whether a filter or sorry, whether a slicer will affect a visual or will not affect the visual. So when I click edit interaction, remember I've selected the slicer, I went to format, I selected edit interactions, and now you see there is this button that appears. Okay, I'll just click here and similarly I'll click here. This means that this slicer will not have any effect on this amount and quantity. Let's just see whether that happens or not now. Now again I select amount, nothing changes. I select quantity, nothing changes. So if you want any particular slicer to not, any particular visual to not change based on your slicer value, you can do it like this. Okay. So I've created amount, I've created quantity. Let me just go ahead and create my first line chart. Okay, I'll go here. I'll bring my line chart here. I want to create a trend. The reason I created a line chart is I've already told you guys that line chart is important when you have to show trend across time. So I want to see how my sales have been. So I've already created a measure on sale value. So what I'll do is, but I don't have, 1 second. So if I go in my orders table, you see there is a column called order date. Okay, let me show you first. I'm going to my orders table. You see order date is there. Again, in the previous class also I showed, I don't want to put this entire date into any of my visual. Rather, I want to just extract the year part of it so that I can use that particular column to put inside my visual. So I can again use the format function to create my column. I'll go here, click on new column. This is what? This is a calculated column. I will call this as year. And I'll say format. Column name is order date. This is the column I want to format, and I want to format in YY. Okay. So it will create a new column here and it will hold the values this. Okay. One interesting thing to note is whenever you use this format column, format is a way through which it assumes that there is a string column which holds a string and you are formatting that into a new string column. So that is why you see the new column it created is of type text. Here, you cannot go ahead and change the column types directly. That can be done in Power Query Editor. So what I'll do is, I will just put another function out of it and call it value. That whatever you produce from this particular function, convert that into, now press enter. Now you see, the data type became general. This is not a text, okay? It is now not considering this particular column as a text value. It is important for our next calculations because we will be using this year column a lot in different measures that we calculate. We have to have this column as a numerical value, not as a text value. Because if this will be considered as a text value, our calculations won't happen. So that is why if that is the case, you can put a value function in front of your format function and it will convert this into this style. Okay, coming back. Okay, so this is my visual. 1 second, let me just come back. In this visual, now I have year column. Also, when you have a lot of data sets and you have like, if even right now we can see there are so many data sets. So one way is that you will have this kind of view. You will open all of the tables to see if that column is present or not. Or else you can just go here and select, I created an year column. I will select year. Okay. So, order date year. Orders year is there. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put this year on the x-axis and the measure that I created sale value, I'll put that on the y-axis. Okay, let me just make it bigger. Okay, so this is my sale value that you can see. You can see the values here as coming as 2017.0, 17.5, etc., which is very absurd. And the reason for that might be here is not coming. There are no decimal places, or let me make it 0. Okay. Now it's coming correct. Sometimes it can happen because your year value was considering auto, so it can behave abruptly. But now you can see for every year starting from 2017, these are your sale values. Just by seeing this visual, I know it gained a lot of value in 2018, then again fall in 2019 and dropped in 2020. Okay, so this is my yearly trend. Let me just go ahead and format this particular visual. I'll go to general, title, and I'll call this yearly sale trend. Okay, I'll bold it out. Let me see all the other things. I'll go to visual. I will just change the color of this line. So by default, it is taking blue. So today's theme, I'll follow more of an orangish color. So I'll put it like this. Okay. Also, I want to see the data labels maybe. So I'll put my data labels. You can also add a marker. See, these are markers. You can also increase the size of the markers. Like if I go here, this is showing me 5. If I make it 7, it becomes more bigger. So that it clearly shows you that these are the values. Okay. If your line chart is not becoming very haphazard, these are some things that you can add to your line chart to add more value to it. Okay. So this is the line chart that I've created. What I'll do is, okay, for now, I'll just keep it like this. I will do things, but maybe in a bit of time. Okay, that is more on the dashboarding side, but this is my yearly sale trend. Okay. Similarly, what I'll do is I'll create a clustered bar chart, not this one. I'll select somewhere outside, then I'll create a clustered bar chart. I'll put it here. Okay, let me just reduce the size of this particular thing, put it somewhere here, and make it. Okay. So in this particular bar chart, what I want to see is city-wise, how has the sale been performing? I saw how has the sale been performing across different years. Now I want to see across cities, how has the sale been performing? So what I'll do is I'll just bring the city column. I'll search for city. Now you can see there are 2 cities. One city is in orders, one city is in restaurant. We're looking towards order, so I'll just bring the city value from the orders table. On the y-axis and the sale value, the one measure that I created, I am using that again and again. Okay. Now you can see all the different cities which are there in the data. There are so many cities data which are there. Every city, how are they performing from top to bottom, it is showing. Starting with Tirupati, then we have Electronic City Bangalore, then we have Pune, then we have Raipur, others, etc., etc. So we are just able to see the city-wise how much the sale is happening in decreasing order. Now, what if you want to see only the top 5 cities? What you can do is you go to here, you put the sale value here, not the sale value. 1 second. Okay. So we have sale value already here. We just want to see top 5, top 10, all of these kind of cities. If I want to see that, let me just see. Okay. I'll put the sale value. Sale value is coming from the value table. Okay. So you have orders value. What I'll do is I'll go to advanced filtering, or let's go to top N, and I'll say show me only top 10. Why is it not coming? Or top 10 of what? 1 second. Here I should go, I should select top N, top 10 of value. And I'll say apply filter. Now you see, it is only showing me top 10, or else I can go here and I'll select top 5 and it will only show me top 5. So what I'm doing is, There is already a city column that was added. Let me just re-show you. So the moment I created this visual, it showed like this. It shows me city selected as all and sale value is also selected as all. So I'll go to the city column. I'll select the type of filter as top N. I'll select top 5 here. And top 5 on what? Top 5 on the value. And then click on apply filter. So it only shows me top 5. I can go ahead and select top 10 and it will now show me top 10 values. Okay. Just removing this filter. What if I can do this whole thing that I'm doing here, top 5, top 10, etc. dynamically? Like I want to provide buttons. The moment I click on top 5 button, it just filters this visual to show only top 5 values. If I provide top 10 button, if I click on the top 10 button, this particular visual would be filtered to show only top 10 buttons. Can we do that? Yes. How will we do that? We'll just see. Okay. So for now, I've removed any slicer or anything on top of this particular visual and keeping it like this. We'll come back here so that we can add these dynamic capabilities of filtering this visual basis on the buttons, which will have values like top 5, top 10, top 50, top 100, etc. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll just resize these because I need to have 4 cards here. Okay. Now I have amount, I have quantity. I need the rating and I need the order count. Like these are my 4 basic KPIs which are important for my dashboard, for my first page of this dashboard. So I already have the amount value. I already have the quantity value. What I'll do is I'll create 2 new measures and I will call them as rating count and order count. Okay. So I'll go here. 1 second. Rating is also very important because when we order something, we always make sure whether the rating is good or not. So what I'll do is I'll go to new measure and I'll call this as rating count. Rating count would be count of, there would be a rating column already if I type RAT. Yeah, rating is coming. I'll close this and I'll say okay. Okay, so we've created another rating count and similarly, I will create order count also so that I can add that in a API card. Okay, creating a new measure, calling it order count, and this will be the count of the, in the order table, you have a column called order date. Okay, why I'm taking order date is because there can be a lot of orders in the similar day. Okay, so order date. Okay, so we have created order count, we have created our rating count. What I'll do is I will just replicate this, Control C, Control V. Okay, and in this one, rather than quantity, I'll put my rating count, which is 148K. Good. I will just realign these. And similarly, I'll create my 4th one. Just copy pasting this, Control C, Control V, putting it somewhere here. I'll realign things. In the rating count, I'll remove the rating count and I'll put the order count. Okay. So these are my 4 cards that have been created: amount, quantity, rating count, and order count. Okay. I'll just select all of these. Go here, go to the call out value and make it smaller. Okay. So that it becomes more neat and it occupies lesser space. I can make it more smaller. Okay. And I'll bold these values. 1 second. So that you can see them while they do not occupy a lot of space. Okay. Okay. And I'll go here and make it come here. Okay. So we have our 4 KPI cards: amount, quantity, rating, and order. These would be the 4 important metrics for our first page of this dashboard. And Whenever you select amount, okay, this is also changing. Second, this shouldn't be changing. Rating count and order count should also not be changing. So what I'll do is I'll just put it like this. Nothing should change when I select this. Only the visuals would change. You see, the visual just changed when I selected quantity. And the moment I select amount, visuals would change again. Okay. For this particular slicer, I will just go ahead here and put a force selection. Like something has to be selected most of the time, every time, either amount or quantity. If you put a force selection on, it happens like that. Okay. I will just move them a little bit left. Okay, and this one, maybe. Okay. Now I'll move on to my next measure. I've created the order count. I have realigned all my now what I want is I want veg, non-veg and others different values. Like I want to understand total veg sales, I want to understand total non-veg sales, and I want to understand, because we have created a third category which is others. So if there is anything remaining, that what is the total sale of others? Similarly, what is the rating of veg, what is the rating of non-veg, and what is the rating of others? This area I want to put 3 cards, each representing veg, non-veg and other sales. Okay. So for that, firstly, what I'll do is I need to look into the data model first. Okay. Because now we are talking interrelationship. Restaurant will have the restaurant details, sales will come from the orders table. So we should have done that initially also, but let's not worry. And now see what is the relationship across the different tables. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so restaurant is already connected with the orders table. No, it's not connected. Users is connected with our orders table. There is already a relationship. It has identified. Why it has identified? Because it could have find the exact common column. User ID is present across both the table. So it was able to create this relationship. But there, other than that, there is no relationship. I want to create a relationship between restaurant and orders table, because some information I'll be pulling from restaurant, some information I'll be pulling from the orders table. Okay. Is there a common column between two? Yes. This ID column in the restaurant table and the RID column in the order table is holding the same values. So what I'll do is, one way to create a relationship is go to manage relationship and let me do that. I'll go to manage relationship, create a new relationship, go to orders in my first table. Second table would be restaurant. Okay. By default, it is searching for a common column. So it is showing you city. But what I'll do is I'll select RID and ID here. Okay. And rather than single, I will select both. Because sometimes I would be filtering based on orders. Sometimes I'll be filtering based on the restaurant. There's a many to one relationship and I'll save it. Okay. Now a new relationship has been created between these two tables. Also, I want to create a relationship between menu and the orders table. Do they have a common column between them? Yes, there would be an ID column. Same. RID is a common column. You can see RID is here and RID is here also. So what I can do is, if I'll quickly drag this time. 1 second. I'll select RID. I will drag on top of RID. This is another way to create relationship where you don't have to go to manage, select. You are just dragging and dropping. But make sure that it gets dropped on the correct column. Otherwise, your relationship will be created. It doesn't show any error normally. But what will happen is it will result into wrong visuals getting created. Okay, and I'll save this. Okay. We're not creating a relationship with food because we have already merged this food information, veg and non-veg, with the menu information coming here. So not creating a relationship here. This relationship would suffice our need. Okay, coming back. So we have created the relationship between the tables. Now what I'll do is I will just go ahead and create 3 cards. 1 card holding the information veg, non-veg, and third will be for others. Okay, I will just copy paste this visual, not this. Okay, let me copy this. Okay. And in this visual, we have the sale value. No, this one I will put it. It does has a sale value, but remember we renamed it to amount. So this is sale value. There would be a filter on type. I will just remove this filter because we added this filter as part of creating the amount column. Rather than that, now what I will do is I will bring my veg or non-veg column. So we can bring our veg or non-veg column as a filter here. Okay, I have brought that in the menu. I'll bring it here and I'll select veg. You see, I created what do we say, a card where I have put up that sale value, but I want to see sale for veg, sale for non-veg, and sale for others. So if I select veg here, let me select non-veg here. This is showing me non-veg. Okay, I'll just Control C, Control V. In this one, I'll go ahead and select, rather than non-veg, I'll select veg. And similarly, I'll do Control C, Control V. And this time, I will go ahead and select others. Okay. So this is my, one second. This is my non-veg sale, this is my veg sale, and this is my other sales. So if I want to put titles like these, what I'll do is, first of all, for this one, I'll go here, I'll remove this category label because it automatically identifies the column name. Like I said, I'll go to general, title, and call it non-veg sales. What did that happen? Non-veg sales. I'll just copy paste this so that I don't have to write this again and again. And I'll bold this value. Make it a bit bigger because it is coming like this. So this is my non-veg sale. The title is coming on the left side, so I'll put it in the middle. Similarly, I'll go here. For this one also, I'll change the title. I'll make the title as veg sales. Make it bold. And make it come in between. And lastly, I'll go here, make the title on, make it others, other sales. Make it bold and put it in between. Okay, category label off. Category label off. Okay, so we created three, what do we call, cards. One to show non-veg sales, one to show veg sales, and one to show other sales. Okay. Now we want to just not see the sales value. We also want to see the ratings across these three categories. Like what was the rating for non-veg dishes, non-veg sales that have been made? What was the rating for veg sales? And what was the rating for other sales? Because this is one of the KPIs which are very important for any kind of analysis or any kind of decisions that a company want to make. Recently, you would have seen that Zomato started their all vegetarian fleet. So all of these new initiatives that companies start as part of their campaigns or as part of their sale strategies comes from such kind of analysis. They would have done some analysis and would have understood maybe that this area is where I'm getting more profit. So maybe I can focus on these areas to gain more profit around these areas specifically. So all of these decisions that are very critical and important to the companies always comes from these kind of analysis and dashboarding that we do. Okay. So I've created non-veg sales, I've created veg sales and other sales. Now what I'll do is I'll again create three cards. One is for rating for this, second is rating for this, third is for rating for this. Okay. Now rating count is a measure that I think we already created. Yes, we created this rating count. What I'll do is quickly copy. No, not copy. Let me create a new one. I'm creating a new card. Here I'm putting rating. Now this will show me overall rating, but I just want to see the rating for my non-veg food. So again, same thing that you have done for the previous filter. You will go here, search for veg or non-veg, bring the veg or non-veg here and put a filter on non-veg. Now this shows you the rating for the non-veg food. Okay. I'll go here, remove the category label, put a title, say this is rating. Also, I would change the color for this text so that it will be different from the previous one. Let me see what I have done. Okay. So this is my visual, this is my call out value. This is a very big value. I'll make it small and I will make the color a bit different. And title will come in between. Title also same color. Okay. Not very dark, not very light ones. And put this rating here. This is my non-veg sales and this is my rating for non-veg sales. Okay. Similarly, I'll do copy this and paste it next to veg. And this time the filter would be don't show me non-veg, show me veg. Okay. Realigning will always be a part of your dashboarding. You create a new visual, you will have to again realign things. You create a new visual, you again have to go ahead and realign things. Okay. So this is my rating for non-veg, this is my rating for veg, and similarly, we'll have rating copy, paste here, and this time the category is others. Okay, 927. So these are the total rating count that you have got across the three categories. Okay, so these cards are very much enough to give you this information in terms of firstly amount, quantity, rating count, order count. These are my four major KPIs, and I'm able to see across all of these city values. If I go ahead and filter on the amount and the quantity column, all of my visuals are getting filtered. You can see the moment I select amount, this also changes. All of these changes. I select quantity, all of these changes along with the visual. But these four visuals are not changing because I have stopped the interaction on these visuals. Okay, these the ones that I created, I will go ahead and just format these a bit so that it looks more appealing and clear. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add a shape firstly. Shape to as a background to all of these. Okay, let me just create a shape. How do we create a shape? I go to insert, I go to shapes, and I'll add this shape. Okay, so this is my shape. This is a rectangle. Rotation is off. Style, I don't want a color. I just want like this, plain white. Okay, let me see what other things I've done. I will go ahead to general, go to FX and add a shadow. Add a background, which is white, and then a shadow, so that it appears like this. Also in the shadow, I'll go here and I'll select custom. So when you click on custom, see, by default, it will add a shadow like this. But for me, this shadow is very much bright. I don't like it that bright. So you can go ahead and change these things. Like for example, the blur is 10. I will make that as 17. Change this. I'm just putting my own configurations just to make it lighter. Now you see, now this is less vibrant as a shadow. Also, there is border added. Going to the shape, style. Yeah, border is added. I'll just remove the border. And this is the shape that I created. The reason is this, that it creates an elevating effect. So what I want is, I want three such shapes, each for veg, non-veg. I'll just make it a bit smaller. Okay. I'll just Control C, Control V, put another one here. And again, Control V and put another one here. Again, a lot of realignment is required because these are a bit bigger. So I'll just make them a bit smaller. Okay. Control C, Control V. And again, Control V. Again, these are a bit bigger, but we'll see. So I'll just select these, Control, go to Format, send them back. Now you see there is an elevating effect that comes. This is again, no one will tell you that you need to do this, but it's something that you can do to make your visual look more appealing. Now we'll have to readjust our visuals again so that it falls under the same header and right category. Okay. So firstly, I will move a bit here. This one and this one will come there. Okay. Similarly for veg, I'll put it down because I'll put some images also on the top. And I'll put the rating here. I'll select these and also put these down. Okay, so this is my veg, this is my non-veg. Just aligning it. And this is my other sales, so I'll put this here. And put my rating here. This card is comparatively big, so I'll make this shorter. Okay. So these are my 3 cards. The reason I added a background, you can clearly see that it has created a good elevating effect on my background. Okay. I have just realigned all my other visuals. The same elevating effect that we created here can be created across all the visuals. Firstly, let me just push them down. Okay, at the same level as this particular visual. These are also very important when it comes to alignment. Everything in the same line, everything in the same order, everything following the same font. Again, no one will come and tell you that, no, this is not exactly what we were expecting in terms of the font and alignment. But font and alignment always gives you a different extra over edge in terms of your final dashboard that gets created. So do make sure to care about these areas because mostly people don't care, but this is what differentiates from a good dashboard to a normal dashboard. Okay. So what I'll do is the shape that I added. Okay, this is my shape. I'll just Control-C and Control-V because I need this shape in a lot of different areas. Like for example, I want to add similar shape to this particular chart's background also. Okay, I'll go to Format and send it back. Now again, this elevating effect that has occurred just because it is coming out. Second. It should be inside the visual. Okay. Now you see the same elevating effect coming from the yearly trend graph also. And very similarly, I'll just put this particular shape. I just created once and I'm reusing that shape again and again. Okay. I'll put this here, here. Again, format, send to back. The same elevating effect is coming on this particular visual also. These are some things that you can add to your visual to add more effect to it. Okay. I have added some images for non-veg, veg and others, which I will add here. Again, this is more of making my dashboard look more interactive, more beautiful. So what I'll do is I'll go to insert, I'll go to image, I'll go to class 9's images. Okay. So these are my images. I'll just open them. Let me see what's exactly this. Okay, this is my veg. So I'll just go here and add this. Okay. Similarly, I'll go to my home. Sorry, insert image. This time I will add the non-veg one. I'll just put it in the alignment of my previous one. Okay. And similarly, I'll add an image for the others category. Okay, I'll drag this and I'll make it. Okay. So these are 3 visuals that I added on the same, these are 3 images that I have added on the same visual. to make it look more interactive. And 1 second. What you can do is you can also add something on top of this. Let me just show you. I'll go to image again. I have some downloaded icons that you see. This is an icon for biryani. I'll just make it small and put it here on top of it. Similarly, I'll add an image for, there would be an icon, yeah, for veg. I will add this here, make it small. Okay. And I will lastly add an image for the burger and put it here. Okay. These are just to make my dashboard more appealing. Even if I don't add that, the metrics still remain the same. This is more of a dashboarding thing that I've done. I'll just maybe drag them a bit low. The rating is coming outside. This is also coming outside. Okay. This looks neat and interactive. I have added the amount, I have added the quantity. Let me just add, go to insert, go to text box, and I will say this is my overview page. Because this is my first page of the dashboard, I will call this as an overview. Let me just make it bigger and bold. Okay, and this one I'll put here. Okay, I'll just select all of these four, go to format, align, and distribute them horizontally. So they are equally spaced between each other. Okay, I can make this more bigger if this is not looking as an heading. I'll go Control-A, get 40. Okay, I'm leaving this space because I will be adding some things here as well. And also I would want to add a filter to this particular visual so that it filters my top 5, top 10, top 20, etc. dynamically. And also the heading should also show me top 5, top 10, top 20, etc. Okay, let me go forward. There is a question, ma'am. Total value should include only amount, right? Not quantity. Which total value you're talking about? Non-veg sales, if you're talking about non-veg, veg, etc., where we have added, this is just to show the amount and the quantity at the same time. Okay, cool. Let me move forward. So what I'll do is, firstly, let me add one more shape so that I'll fill this area and then I'll move towards filtering this. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go to insert, I'll go to shape, and I'll add a shape here. Okay. Make, okay, 1 second. Okay, and this one also. Okay, and this is my shape. Make it smaller. And I don't like the color this much, so what I'll do is I'll go and add a very light color here. Okay, I'll go to shape, style. It shows blue color. I'll go to more colors and I'll put a light color code here. Okay, you see this is a very light color here, and I'll remove the borders so that it appears like this. Okay, so in this one, what I'll do is I'll go and add some images that I have downloaded. One is this Zomato. I'll add this one here. And then I'll go here, maybe make it more smaller. Okay, and then I'll go and add one more icon that I have downloaded, which is something like this. Okay, this is just for making my UI look more appealing in terms of the theme that we are following for a food delivery app. And what I'll do is, one second. Realigning again. I want to add a title here, so I'll go here, say dashboard. Okay, bold it out, make it size is big, and it will come here. Okay, you can skip this also because anyways you have one title called overview and this is my dashboard title. Okay, here I will add I want to add something in terms of details, in terms of a line which says that how many cities, how many total users, and how many total orders are there. Okay, so for that, what I do is I will create a heading. Okay, I want a heading which shows me the values dynamically in terms of it will show a text message that Zomato is providing services and so and so. This so and so, like how many cities, how many users, and how many orders are there that I need to customize. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll go here, go to new measure, and I'll create a measure and I'll call this dynamic subheading, just for understanding what exactly is this particular measure. Okay, just see what I'm doing. I am putting a text message that Zomato providing services in. Okay, after in, I am just using and symbol because and is a way to concatenate things. Let's say you have a string, then you want to add a dynamic value that like we saw yesterday also. And then what I'll do is I'll say distinct count of city. Okay, let me just do this part so that you understand what exactly I'm doing. I'm saying done. And what I'll do is I'll put this dynamic subheading that I have created. I'll create a card. Inside the card, I'll put this dynamic subheading. See what exactly it is showing. Whatever you wrote, Zomato providing services in, now it is showing 822. This 822 is calculated dynamically. The number of cities, okay? This is very big, so I'll go here. First of all, I don't like the label. And secondly, I'll reduce the size, font size to very small. Okay, and make it bold. Okay, I'll continue adding more details to this particular thing. Okay, now I'll say again ampersand. I will add the word city. Then I will say connected with. Now I want to get the number of users. Again, I'll close this. I'll add an ampersand and I will say a distinct count of the number of users. How do we identify the number of users? There is a column called user ID. I will use that column from the user table. I will just type user underscore ID. So I will take that from the users table. And then again, I'll add an ampersand, this and users. Just to show you exactly what is happening now. Okay, there is some issue with this distinct count of this. I have not closed the distinct count here. And I have added an extra thing here. Distinct count of and connected with listing count of user ID. Let me just put the user ID again, maybe. Now let me run it. Now you see it says Zomato providing services in 822 cities, comma, connected with 10,000, I think 1 lakh users. Okay. Now I will go ahead and add more details here. I need users information and I will say and processing. I want to get the number of orders also. Again, I'll say and do a count of user ID. Users from the orders, sorry, from the orders table, I'll take the user ID and I will say orders. Full stop, close. Again, okay, I added this here. This should come here. And I'll rewrite this. See, the error that you get in Power BI is also very much self-sufficient to understand. Like it will, if there is a syntax error, it will point you there that there is a syntax error there. So debugging also becomes very easy then, whenever you're writing such tags. Okay. Now you see a string got created in which some lines I have quoted in double quote. So they will always come, like Zomato providing services in will always be common. Now it will go ahead and count the number of cities, put it here. Similarly, count the number of users, put it here, and count the number of orders and put it here. Now this is my, and I will go ahead and add it here as my subheading inside this. I will go to general effects, make the background off so that it just gels in that particular dashboard view. Okay. Similarly, you can go ahead and add as anything when it comes to your dynamic dashboard, dynamic titles, but you can create a dynamic title using a simple measure, and then you can put it in a card and it would appear like this. That's what I wanted to show you here. Okay. Similarly, what I'll do is quickly copy this shape, Control C, Control V, make this shape come here on the left pane. This. Okay. Just creating a left pane because we will have a lot of pages, like we'll have 4 pages. So we will put some icons here that will just be used for page navigation. Okay. So I'll go to insert images. All of these images will be provided to you, so don't worry about that. I put all of the images inside a folder. And there is a home button. Now that home button, after that, I will add a people's button because we'll have a page which will have details for people. Put this thing here. Okay, and similarly, I will have an analytics button, this one, where I will put my 3rd page navigation. I can make this smaller also. These are a bit bigger. Okay, so these are my 3 ones. There are some people who can also go ahead and add us just for, because if it looks settings icon. So you can add as many icons you want and you can customize these images itself to perform page navigation. You don't even need buttons. We'll see. The moment we'll create multiple pages, we'll use these images itself for navigating from one page to another. Because you can see, right? The moment you click here, there's an option called action. And if I make the action on, I can have the page navigation option available to navigate from one page to another. Okay. Overall, this is my first overview page. But there is one thing left, which I wanted to show is that I want to add dynamic filtering to this particular visual and also dynamic title to this particular visual. Okay. So for that, what I'll do is I'll create a new measure. This is something we have been seeing since yesterday also, that you can customize the filtering process of your particular visual by creating measures or by creating a new table itself. So what I'll do is I'll create a new measure and I'll call this measure as top N sale, because we are trying to figure out that if you say top 5, it should show me top 5. If you say top 10, it should show me top 10. Okay. I will create a variable. I will call that variable as rank value. Okay. Now rank value, what it will do is it will rank all the cities in descending order based on the sales value. Exactly what you were doing using the filters. What you were doing, you were going selecting the filter as top 5, top 10, and you were providing that what I should be selecting for this top 5 and top 10 category. It's just exactly similar. It's just that rather than doing it using filters, you are doing it using the DAX query. So I'll use a function called rankx. Inside the rankx function, you will have to say, first of all, select all, because even if any slicer or filter is selected, ignore that, select all. What all? Select all the city from the order table and then rank it based on the sales value. And let me just copy paste quickly. I've created sale value, this one. Okay. So if you see, I've created a rank value. This rank will basically select all the cities, sort them in descending order based on the sale value. And then I will write a return statement, because whenever you create a variable, you have to return. I will say return. And then I will say if the rank value that I have created, this one. Let me just copy this part also. Is less than equals to, not equals to 5, then do this, otherwise do. One second. If rank equals to 5, let me do that. Sale underscore name. It's sale value. I'll remove this. Let me write and explain it. So what exactly I'm doing it? I'm writing this particular measure in steps. Okay, this is the first part where I've hard coded the value 5. That if the value is 5, then filter, rank the values, filter, and only select the 5 values from the sale value. Okay. Now if I do a commit to this, this is a new measure that I've already created. What I'll do is, in this particular line chart that I created, rather than putting the sale value here, I will put this top N sales. Okay, why is only others coming? City is coming as others. Okay, because we selected the top 3. Okay, if I make it less than equals to 5. Let's see what exactly happens then. So what I've done is I created this measure. In this measure, I am using a rank function to rank the values in descending order. And I'm then saying that show me the rank value for 5. So in that case, it will show you the values in descending order for top 5. Okay. If I make this 10, it will then show me the top 10. Okay. But you would argue that I don't want to do this. Again, this is a manual process of putting 5, putting 10, etc. Okay. Can we not do that dynamically? That if I select something, it should automatically know that I'm looking for top 5 and it should filter for top 5. If I select something, it should automatically put 10 here and then it will show a top 10 and so on. Can we do that? Yes. And for that, we need a new table. It's very similar concept to what we have done yesterday. I'll just make it this way. We had space. Cool. I'll select somewhere outside. Why is it not coming like this? Okay. So for that, I need to create a rank table. This whole thing that if I select this, it should come like this will again be fulfilled by a selected value function. But for that, I need a table first of all. Okay, I'll create a new table. Go to here, go to table tools, create a new table. Again, it's very similar. I'm repeatedly saying that you can always create a new table by manually entering the data, or you can create that by using a data table function. Okay, so this is a DAX that I have used to create this rank table. So you can see what exactly is this. This is just creation of a new table which holds 3 columns. One is sort column 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second is the type. Here I have put up these values, all top 5, top 10, top 20, top 50, top 100. And then I'm assigning a value to that. 0, 5, 10, 20. This value will be picked up in that formula. If you remember, I have put up 5, I have put up 10. What I want now is whatever I select in this particular table, that should be replaced with that this 10, 5 or whatever you have created. This should be replaced by whatever gets selected here. That's how easy it is. Okay. So I created this table. What I'll do is I'll create a slicer. Go to visualization, create a slicer of type number. Okay. You see 0, 5, 10, 20, something coming. Okay. If I select 0, obviously nothing will happen. But what I will do now is, based on my selection here, I will transform the measure that I have already created. That take the value which is selected in this particular visual and replace it with that 5, 10, etc. that you were doing. Okay. So I'll again go to my top end sales, and this time I'll create a new variable. See, I have already created one variable. I'll just do a shift enter and create another variable. This variable now holds the selected rank. Whatever is the selected value from this particular table, the number value, this will be hold inside this particular variable. Okay. Now what I just have to do is, rather than putting a 10 here, I will say selected rank will be replaced here. Okay. So now I am dynamically capturing 5, 10, 20, etc. And based on that, it will just go ahead and filter that. Let's see. Okay. Now see the magic. I am selected 5, it is showing me 5. I am selecting 10, which is showing me top 10. I am selecting 20, it is showing me top 20 now. Similarly, but if I select 0, it doesn't show anything. By default, 0 should have shown me all the values. The reason I had 0 is to have a default state in place, that I'm not doing top 5, top 10, etc. Rather, I'm just saying that show me everything. No filter is needed. So in order to account for this particular use case, I will again go back to my measure and I will just add one more if condition. If you see, I have return statement and there is a if condition. Before this if condition, I will put another condition. That if my selected value is 0, in that case, you need to just give me all the sales value. No condition should be taking place in that case. But if it is not, then you should go ahead and check for other values. This is a condition that I have added just to make sure that when I select 0, it doesn't filter anything. It shows me all the values. Okay. Let me come back here. Now, if you see, I selected 0, it is showing me all the values. I select 5, it shows me top 5. When I select top 10, it shows me top 10. When I select 20, it shows me 20 and so on. Okay. I can modify this visual by, rather than putting number here, I will put the type here. Because this is more easier to understand. All top 5, top 10, top 20. Now you'll be able to understand exactly what you're trying to do. Okay. Now let me just format this particular visual. First of all, I don't like it in this way. I'll go to the layout. I just need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 rows and only 1 column. I want it to come in a single line like this. Okay, so that I will use it to filter. I don't like the title. Okay, do I have the title here? Title is gone. And I'll put this here. I'll just change this visual and this one, so that it appears like a button that is added to your visual itself. Inside it. Okay. Again, I can go ahead and format this. Let me see if I want to format it. First of all, I'll go ahead. Y-axis, I don't need the title. Okay. Similarly, X-axis, I don't need the title. Just removing anything extra which is there on my visual. Okay. Okay. So you see, it looks like there is a button that is added to this visual itself. Select on all, it will show everything. Control and Shift. If you select on top 5, it will show this. If you select on top 20, it will show you these values. You can again go ahead and format this. Like for example, I will go ahead and change the shape of this visual. Go to shape, rectangle, rounded rectangle, and reduce it to 13. So that it appears more appealing in the form of rounded rectangles. Also, if you want to change the default colors, like by default, the colors are only white. And if you select, it becomes this black color. So what I want is that by default, firstly select this visual, go to slicer settings, layout, call out values, buttons. So by default, the fill color should be, let me see what color I have added. This is my color, grayish. So I'll just fill that by default, when nothing is selected, the color should not be white, rather it should be grayish. Okay. And when something is selected, I'll just go ahead and follow the theme, the orange theme that I'm following to fill in the colors. So if something is, where is it? In default, in selected state, I'll just go ahead and select the dark orange color. Okay. So now I've just made some modifications to this. Again, there is some border added. So I don't like these borders on the, so I'll go here, go to buttons, borders off. Cool. Now I can go ahead, select all of these, or I can select top 5, top 10, whatever you want, and your filter will be sliced accordingly. Okay. One thing that I don't like here is that it is filtering the values, okay, as per my convenience. But the title says top end sale by city. Okay. I want the title to also change. That when I select top 5, it should show me top 5. When I select top 10, it should show me top 10, and etc. Okay. So what I'll do is I will add a title to this. I will create a measure, new measure. That measure will hold what you are selecting, whether you are selecting top 5, whether you are selecting top 10, whatever you are selecting, it will hold that value, and that value we will replace in the title of this particular visual. So what I'm saying is this is dynamic top and title. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm saying variable to hold the selected rank, whatever you have selected. Exactly what you were doing previously, I'm saying selected value inside the rank table to hold the type value. You're selecting top 5, you're selecting top 10, etc. Okay. I'll create another variable to hold the selected type also. Now, if you see here, we have amount and quantity also. I will just make it more advanced. I am not just selecting top 5. I am also saying whether you are showing me top 5 amount or you are showing me top 5 quantity. This filter. If it is selected as amount, this will show me top 5 amount. If it is selected as quantity, this will show me top 5 quantity. So what I'll do is I'll just create another variable. I'll call this as selected type. Okay. And this will again hold the value, selected value of what is selected in the order table type column. Okay. So I have captured both the values, whatever was selected in the rank and whatever was selected in the type. Finally, what I'll do is return selected rank. I'll just copy paste this part. Return my selected rank. And then I will add some words to that, which is and space city space then and again and then selected type. I want to add the word city in between. So I'll this. Okay. Let's see what exactly it is representing. I've created the title. I will just go to this visual, go to title, general, title. Title is showing as top and sale by city. I'll go to FX. I will select the title that I created, dynamic top and title. Okay. Now see the magic. I select top 5, it shows an amount is selected, it shows top 5 city amount. I select top 20, it shows top 20 city amount. I select top 10, it says top 10 city amount. I make it quantity, this becomes quantity. Okay. So it is not only capturing what you're selecting in one fill slicer, it is also capturing what you're selecting in another slicer, which is affecting this particular visual. Okay. Now, one last thing is this particular visual that you see here is not in the color coded format that I wanted. So what I'll do is I'll go to this particular visual, go to bars and click on FX. I want to put a conditional formatting on the gradient side. I'll say gradient on top and sale. The lowest wall color should be light orange and the darkest color should be dark orange. Okay. It is showing me a legend. I don't want this legend, so I'll remove this. Okay. So this is my first page getting created of my dashboard, which gives me an overview of, first of all, my very important metrics, amount, quantity, rating, order, providing an option to filter between amount and quantity to get the city-wise sales value and year-wise sales value. On top of it, we added an advanced slicer through which you can select what top values you want to see. We also saw how we can find the total veg, non-veg, other sales and the ratings. And on top of that, you can also add a dynamic subheading to any of your visual to give some information along with a string attached to it. Okay. So this is my first page and I'll call this page as my overview page. Okay. Before moving on, let me just see if there are any quick questions and then I'll move on to my next pages. Okay, going into the Q&A, is there a way to not have labels by default? No, you'll have to go ahead and push them off or on. How adding a new variable for the rank formula is different from using the top 5 in filter? It's not different. It's just that there you have to add a filter. Here you are doing that using DAX. So whichever way you want. If you do that by DAX, you'll have to go ahead and select top 5 or top 10, etc., etc. But I think you already got the answer. If we do that using DAX, you can dynamically change what top value you want. But if you do that with filter, you have to statically put that value 5, 10, etc. Ma'am, can you explain the selected value or selected column DAX? So Sampath, selected value is one DAX function which holds the value. Like if, for example, I'm saying selected value, inside that function, I am saying particular column I'm passing. Okay. So whatever, if there is any filter or if there is any slicer in which that particular column is being selected, that selected value will hold. First of all, the condition is only one thing should be selected in that column. And whatever is getting selected, it holds that particular value. That this particular value from that particular column was selected in this particular visual. Now, based on these selections, we can then go ahead and customize and make our visuals dynamic the way we did that. What if you select all? What will be the title be? So like I said, Dipanshu, selected value will only select one, will be performing in its right way only when you select one thing. Because the point of having a selected value is to have, is to know what has been selected. Okay. So if I select this all, it will say all city amount. Can you please explain amount and quantity? Amount and quantity is a basic slicer that I have added. You can see there's a column called type in the orders table for which I have added a slicer. This type column already holds two values, which is amount and quantity. So these two values are shown here. Okay. For the top and DAX, if I repeat that part again, Let me just repeat it once more. If people have still doubt, they can view the recording. For the top end sales, the first thing that we are identifying is the rank. So for that, I'm using the rank function, which will do nothing but take all the sales value according to the city and sort them in the descending order. Normally, how we find the top values? By sorting things, right? So it is just sorting those values. The second thing is, it is holding what you are selecting in terms of 5, 10, 20, etc. Now, taking these two values into consideration, this logic has been written that if your rank value is less than equals to whatever is being selected, 5, 10, 20, etc., show only those values. And this condition I added is to just take care of if 0 is selected, which means show everything, then no condition, just show me everything. That's it. Top 5 and top 10 are not coming in order. Yes, I know this is not coming in order. You can go ahead and put these into orders also. The reason is Slicer will always take the values accordingly in terms of how they are put up. I mean, if you select amount as well as quantity, I have already configured in that way, Dipanshu, that only one thing will be selected. The reason we put Slicer is to make sure that only one thing is selected. And if you see, I have added a force selection also, where I can only, first of all, if you see here, I've configured it in that way. If you go here, come here, single select, only one can be selected first of all, and force selection is there. So there will be no point where amount and quantity both will be selected. Cool. These were the questions. Let me move forward while more questions come in. Okay. So this is my first page that I've already created. Let me move on to my next page, where I'll be talking about user performance. So I'll just right click and duplicate this page, because there are a lot of things which are common across the pages. Specifically, the KPIs will remain common. So I'll call this user performance. Okay. So I don't need all of these. So let me just remove these things. Okay. Delete, delete, delete. Okay. I don't need this as well. So delete. This I need, so I'll keep it like this because I need a chart here. Okay. Similarly, I don't need this image because I have another image planned for this, and I will call this particular dashboard as user performance. Okay. Okay. So what I want to understand is the demographics of people, like based on different age groups, which is that particular age group where most of the people buy things from me, buy things from Zomato. Okay. So for that, I will create a new measure called user count, because I want to understand the user count based on different age values. So what I'll do is I'll go here, right click, new measure. You would see the advantage of putting all the measures inside one table, that whenever I have to use any measure, I'll just have to come to this table, pick up the measure that I want rather than selecting and searching for all the different tables. I'll say this measure is user count equals to, the function I'll use is distinct count because I want to find how many users are there, and then user ID in the user table. This is to find the total number of users which are there. Okay. Then I'll put this particular user count inside a bar graph. Okay, user count is created. I'll go here. I'll create a bar graph. I'm just adjusting it before putting any value. Okay. So in this bar graph, because I want to understand the demographics of users based on age, so what I'll do is I'll put my user count on my y-axis and I'll search for age column. Yeah, age is there. So I'll put age here. So you can see it has provided the entire variation across different age groups. You will see this is the age group, which is 23, where the highest number of orders are being placed. Then around 22, 23, 24, the highest peak is here. While again around 32, it again pulls a bit up. But overall, the highest number of customer base is in the range of 23 to 26 years of age group. So, but just by putting this, I am able to understand the age demographics of different users who are buying or placing orders on this food delivery app. Okay. Now again, it is selecting user count by age. I will just rename this and say users. Okay, so that it picks it correctly. Now it says users by age. I don't like this users on the y-axis, so I'll go here. I don't need the title. Similarly, on the x-axis, I don't need the title. I don't need these grid lines. You can see a dotted line that is coming in the background. So I'll go here and remove the grid lines, horizontal and vertical. No grid lines. Okay. So this is showing you users by age. Going to the title, making it bold. Or maybe should come in left side of it. Okay. So now in the very similar way, how we have done the formatting here, I will just select, go to Format Painter and put it here. So that it automatically changes, selects the theme and changes the value. Again, I'll go here, grid lines got added because there were grid lines in the previous visual. And I will make the data labels on, just to see the value, because it's not becoming very clumsy. At the end, if it is not becoming clumsy, I'm okay to put data labels inside the visual. Okay, I am just putting it here. Okay, so this is my first visual, because this particular page will be talking about the user performance. I don't need this visual. Similarly, I don't need this filter in my second page, but I would definitely need this. So I'll put it here. I will put it here, copy this and paste it. Okay. So here I will add my gender wise, how many users I have gained and how many users I have lost. Because this is a very important metric for any business performance, for any business to perform very well, to understand that how much customers they have gained and how much customers they have lost. So that based on these values, they will be able to go deep into understanding why did we lose customers, or what were the primary things because of which new customers started ordering from this particular platform. So all of these informations are very important when you are analyzing your users, your customer base in any particular business. Okay. So for that, what we'll do is we'll firstly create how many active users are there. So we'll create a new measure and we'll call it active users. Let me remove this. Go to measure, create a new measure, and I'll call this active users. Okay, active users is nothing but again the distinct count of how many users are there. Distinct count of the users, but in the order table, because I want to understand what are all the users who are putting orders. Okay. So this is my active users that I've already calculated. Now, just to always verify that whatever calculation you have done is coming out to be correct or not. And whenever it is a measure, the way to do that is select it, come here, put it in a card. So it shows that your active users are 78,000. And if I control C, control V, here I will just see if what is my user count. Okay. So user count is 100K while active users are 78K. Okay. Since we calculated these two, so I'm just using these two to see if the values are correct or not. Okay. Now what I need is how many customers I gained and how many customers I lost. Okay. So for that, I will need to create one measure. But before even doing that, the calculation that I will be doing to find that how many customers I lost and how many customers I gained will require this particular information, that what is the current year. Now, again, it is a very good practice to always make things dynamic in your measure itself. Like, for example, this year is 2024. Next year would be 2025. So next year, when I go ahead and see this dashboard should not show me the metrics of previous year. Why? Because in your formula, you might have hard coded somewhere 2024. Rather than doing that, what you can do is You can create a separate measure which will hold the current year value. There is a separate measure. Since it is holding the current year value, your others formula, wherever you will be using the current year, will just refer to this value. So that next year, when this changes, you just have to go ahead and change that value. What I mean is, let me show you. So what I'll do is right click, new measure, because this data is a bit till 2020, I think so. So I'll say current year. I'm creating a new measure just to hold my current year value is equals to 2020. Okay. Now, wherever I want to use this current year, rather than using the term 2020, I will use this particular current year. So that if year changes, I just have to come here, change this value, and wherever it is getting used in all the calculations, it will automatically reflect. Now, this is how you made it dynamic. You don't have to go ahead and change it everywhere. See that there are 10, 20 formulas where I'm using the current year logic. So I will have to go ahead there and change it. No, I'm putting current year in a separate variable and a separate measure. And every time, every year, I'll just come here, change the value, and this is done. Or else you can make it more dynamic by putting it in a table, pulling the value from the table. For now, I'm just saying current year is 2020. And similarly, I'll create another measure and I'll call it previous year. Okay, because these two will be very important for me to understand how many customers I have gained and how many customers I have lost. So we've already calculated current year. I'll use this current year and I'll say -1. Whatever is the value in the current year, just subtract 1 by it, becomes your last year. So if my current year is 2024, previous year automatically becomes 2023. Okay, so now I've created these two. Now what I'll do is I will go ahead and create a measure to find lost customer. Okay, I'll right click on new measure. And so basically, how do you know if your customer has lost or not lost? The most simplest way to see that is if this year, if we already know how much sale people are, how much sale my company is making. So if, for a particular user, if I am a user of this particular company, I will have a specific user ID. So for me, if this year I have bought something, so company has made some sale on me. So for a user ID, if the sale is made in current year and there was no sale in the previous year, it means there's a new customer. Because my records doesn't show that there was any sale for that particular user ID in the previous year. Vice versa. If there was a sale in the previous year, like I bought a lot of things in previous year, but I did not bought anything in this year. So based on the records they have, they will see that for this particular user ID, last year there was sale, but this year there is no sale, which means that there is a lost customer because the customer did not came again to buy something. So this particular logic that I just explained, I will be using this in this particular calculation. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll use a variable. I'm firstly creating a filter condition because if I put everything inside the calculate functions, it becomes very typical. Basically, I just need to filter my user count. Now, how will I filter? I'm just writing that. This is my filter users condition. I am saying filter, then summarize because I'm grouping the table. Or let me just copy paste quickly and then explain you. Okay, this is my current year sale. Oh, I did not calculated my current year and previous year sale firstly. Okay, let me just remove this. And firstly, let me calculate my current year sale. Because until I know my current year sale, how would I calculate if my customers was lost or was gained? Okay. Okay. One second. Deleting this particular part. Going to my orders table. Orders table does have an year column, right? Yes, year column. Oh, I created the column, but the column spelling was wrong. Okay. Cool. I don't think anything will be affected if I change the spelling. No. Okay. Coming back, I'll create a new measure to understand my current year sale and previous year sale. And then I will use this current year sale and previous year sale to find the customer gained and the customer lost. How do you calculate the current year sale? You calculate your sale value is already there. You'll just filter it for the current year. This is what I'm doing. I'm saying calculate my sale value and just filter the year for this value that you are already storing in the current year measure. Okay. So this gives me my current year sale. Similarly, I will find my previous year sale. The only difference between current year sale and previous year sale would be that here it would not be current year, it would be previous year. So I'll go to my measure table, create a new measure, remove this and put this. Sale value. Okay. Now here I'm saying that sale value is already of DAX. Just filter that sale value based on this year. And what is this year? This is the year you have already stored in the previous year. This is how you make your measure dynamic. It would have been very easy if I would have directly said that calculate sale value year is equals to 2019. It would have been a one-liner measure. But just because we have stored this previous year value in a separate measure, I'm reusing it here. So every time previous year changes, I don't have to come here and change anything. That will automatically be changed. The moment I change my current year's value, every other measure which is using current year, previous year will change automatically. Okay. So again, if I have to check my measures got created correctly or not, I will go here, put my current year sale. Okay, put a card first. In the card, I'm putting current year sale. Okay, current year sale got calculated correctly. Previous year sale. If you see a value, first thing is it got calculated correctly. Otherwise, you'll see an error. Second way is to go ahead and check whether calculations were correct or not. But firstly, see whether it is resulting in a syntax error or whether it is resulting in a number or not. Okay. So we calculated current year, we calculated previous year. Based on current year, we calculated current year sale. Based on previous year, we calculated previous year sale. Now, all of these things we did just to calculate one thing, which is how many customers you lost and how many customers you gained. So now what I do is I'll go back to the measure I was creating, which is new measure and this one. Now, if you see, let me explain this measure. This is my filter condition that I'm creating. It says that filter those user ID from the user table where the current year sale is less than equals to 0 and previous year sale was greater than 0, which means this customer is gone. Why? Because previous year that person's sale was there, but this year the person did not buy anything, so doesn't have any sale. This is my filter condition. This whole thing I wrote just to create a filter condition. And then finally, I'm writing a calculate function that in my user count, give me the users who satisfy this particular condition. And that will be finally my lost customers. Okay. It looks very typical when you see this particular DAX for the first time, but it is frankly very easy. It's just that to avoid a lot of thing in the same place, I've just tried to break it into smaller pieces and then create a DAX for it. Okay. So this is my lost customer. Similarly, you will have gain customers. The only difference between lost and gain customer would be this condition would change. Current year sale becomes previous year and previous year becomes current year. The condition just changes. So I'll right click, new measure. And I'll say lost customers. Sorry, gain customer. You would see the condition is just changed. Here my previous year sale was nothing, but this year sale is greater than 0. It means this is a new customer who is coming. Okay. So we created a lost and gain customer. All of these things that we were doing for this particular two metrics, which is important for us. Now quickly checking whether this got, or let me just delete it. Control-C, Control-V. I'm putting it here. Let me see if there are any filter. Removing the filter, removing the order count, and finding my lost customers there. Okay, so it shows that 33,000 customers were lost. Control-C, Control-V. I'll put my gained customers here. And rather than lost, I will say gained customers. So 12,000 customers were gained and 33,000 customers were lost based on the logic that we created. Okay. I will just go here, go to, I don't like the label. I will just say total. Okay. And I'll put it in between. Or else, 1 second. Category label is on. And I'll go here and make this itself as total because I like it below only. Okay. Similarly, for this one also, I'll make it total. Why I'm putting total here is I would show the gender also here. So this is showing me the total, like total 12,000 customers were gained and total 33,000 customers were lost. But since I already know the gained and the lost one, what I'll do is I will just go here, create a bar chart and see that if total 12,000 customers were gained, out of those 12,000, how many were male and how many were female? Because I would then understand that is it something that gender is determining or not. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll search for gender here. Gender is a data in my users table. Second. Here, y-axis would be gender and x-axis will be my gained customers. Okay, you see that male customers are greater than their female customers in terms of the gained users. Okay, similarly, Control-C, Control-V, copying it here. Okay, and in this one, rather than gained customer, I'll put my lost customers. Also in lost customers, I can see the number of male population is comparatively higher than the number of female population. Let me just align this more. Okay, I'll go here. I'll remove the title from the y-axis. Okay, and in the title, I will say gained users by gender. Okay, and I'll bold it. Similarly, I'll say lost users by gender, and I'll bold this as well. Make it bigger. Go to the y-axis, remove the title. Okay, so now you see we've created this particular area for the number of customers you have gained and the number of customers you have lost. On top of it, not only total customers, we are able to see that out of this 33K, how many were male and how many were female. So if I go here and put my data labels as on, it would be more explicit to understand them. Okay. Now you can see the distribution of this total. You know the total, but at the same time, along with knowing the total, you also know the distribution of that total value. Okay, let me just. Okay. Now, what I'll do is, because it is not matching my theme, I'll select here, go to Format Painter, put it here. Similarly, select here, go to Format Painter, put it here. Okay, now this matches my theme as well, and I'm able to see the gained and the lost customers by the gender. Okay, is my title bold? Okay, now I want to add a simple icon on top of it just to add more emphasis to this. So what I'll do is, this is my down arrow because I'm losing customer. So I'll put this down arrow here. Okay, it's still big. Okay, and similarly, I will bring my up arrow and put it here. Okay, so now it just creates more effect in terms of these are the customers you have gained. This is the gender demographics of the customers that you have gained. Similarly, these are the customers total you have lost, and this is the gender demographic of the customer that you have lost in total. Okay, one last thing for this particular page is I'll just go here and I'll change this image. Earlier I had a different image because it's users demographics, I am adding this particular image here. Okay, so this is my second page that holds the information, not very much overcrowded with a lot of extra information, rather just has the ratings. Okay, first of all, this is amount and quantity. For this particular page, I need the ratings count, and I'll just say ratings, not the ratings count. Okay, similarly, I'll got this orders, not the order count. And I hope that is what I have done in my first page also. I don't think so. Okay, let me just quickly rename this. This is my ratings. Enter. And this is my total orders. We don't need to put this term like count or not count. Okay. Now in the second page, ratings and orders will be as it is. But apart from these, I don't need the amount and the quantity value rather. Here I'm interested in my users. Okay. So I already have created this active user. So what I'll do is in this amount value, rather than amount, I'll put my active users. And in this one, I will put my user count already created, just putting these values. Okay. Because this page is entirely focused on the user performance. So my metrics are also in alignment with the user. Active user, user count, user by age, gained users, lost users, total, and by gender. All of these information we are able to see on this particular visual. Okay, I'll move on to my third page. Today's class will be a bit longer because we are completing an end-to-end project. So you have to hang on for a while, folks. Okay. Now, the third page is the most simplest one because we don't have to put a lot of efforts here. So I'll just quickly go here, go to overview, and I'll duplicate. Okay. And I will call this one as city performance. I want to understand, I have understood based on gender what has been the performance, what has the increase, decrease, and everything. Now I want to do something very similar across the regions also. Okay. Firstly, I don't need all of these. I'll delete all of these. Okay. Amount, quantity, ratings, and order count will remain as it is. I don't need this. I even don't need this time. I'll remove all of these. I'll remove this. Okay. And I'll remove this. I'm keeping this particular visual for now because I will use its theme and then I'll remove it. And this time I need 3 of these. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. Okay. I need to create 3 bar charts based on city values. So for that, I'm just putting 3 placeholders for that, let's just say. Okay. And this time I'll not call it dashboard, I'll call it user city performance, sorry. Okay. Cool. So firstly, I'll need an image here. So what I'll do is I'll go to image and I have another image this time, which is this one. Oh, not this one. Go to image. There should be a world map. Yes, this one. Because it's a city information, I purposely added a world map this time. Okay. Okay. Just to add a background to that because we are not adding any other information in that area right now. Okay. So the first visual that I'll be creating is based on the city, what has been the sale. Okay. All of these things are already created. No need to create anything new. Just search for city here. In the orders table. Okay. First of all, I need to select the graph. Okay. This is my visual. In this visual, I am adding my orders table city column on the y-axis and my sales value, the first measure that we created. Okay, so this shows me the sale value by city. Let me just align it so that I can just copy paste it for all the other ones. Okay. Now I'll just Control C, Control V. Okay. Here, rather than sale value, I will say rating count, the measure that I have already created. So this is showing me the rating count by city. Again, Control C, Control V. And this shows me the active users for every city. Okay, so created 3 visuals very quickly. This is just showing me the city-wise demographics around the sale value, what has been the sale across different cities, what has been the rating count across different cities, and what has been the active users across different cities. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll select this, click on Format Painter, put it here. Select this, click on Format Painter, put it here. Select this, click on Format Painter, and put it here. Okay, quickly created all the 3 ones. No other changes required on this particular site, because this is showing me the city-wise performances across 3 very important metrics that I have. Okay. Now, one thing is, if I go here, I think there is some problem with the way it looks. So I'll go to FX. Okay. So it is selecting the top n cities as the gradient measure, but here, because we copy pasted, right? We don't need the top n cities, rather we need the count of the city column that you are bringing from the orders table, and that's it. Similarly, for this one also, I'll go here, select the city column. Remember, the column on the basis of which you are creating your measure should be the primary criteria for creating the gradient as well. Go to FX, go to city, and click on OK. Okay, so these are good. I don't need this anymore, so I'll delete this. I was just keeping it so that I can preserve the colors. Okay. Now here what I will add is, I will go ahead and add a table here so that I can understand the details about certain cities, sales, etc. in a more detailed form. So I'll just quickly go here. Add a table here. Okay, and this one should come. Okay, so in this table, I will just quickly drag my city from my orders table. Okay, then after city, I have sales. Or I should say not sales. This was my sale value. Okay, then I'll bring my orders, total orders, how many orders are there, order count. I will bring my active users. Okay, you can rename this rather than sale value. I will call this as sales. Rather than order count, I will call this as orders, and this will be my active users. So now I'm able to see more in detail, not in just in the form of a visual, that for every city, what has been the sales, what has been number of orders, and how many active users we have. Okay, let me just make it according to the, okay. So this is my table that I created. This table doesn't go well in the way my other visuals are there. So I'll just go here, select this visual first of all, make it minimal. I like minimal because it's more clear and easily readable and understandable. You can go ahead and pick accordingly. Column headers, I will just increase the column headers, make it bold. Maybe increase the size a bit better, not very big. Okay. 1 second. And the text color should be in alignment with my theme, so that it gels in this particular theme. Okay. So this is my third page that I have created, which is city performance, where I have added my 4 visuals: sale value by city, rating count by city. I have active users by city, and I have a table which gives me a lot of details about that particular city itself. Okay, so this is my third page. What I can do is I can go ahead and add buttons. Okay, I can add slices also. Like for example, 1 second. So what I'll do is firstly, I'll go to insert. Okay, you can either do it through that way, or let me just show you. Just showing you one fancy thing. If you want to put it here, you can. If you don't want to put it here, you can ignore that as well. But letting you know that this is something we can do. Yesterday in the yesterday's project, I showed you, right, that using buttons, you can show or hide anything, right? Similarly, today also, I'll go to insert. I'll first of all bring a shape. Okay, this is my shape that I will put here somewhere. Okay, going to this shape, I don't like the color. I will make it white. And I will remove the border. Okay, so this is my shape that I have added. The reason I have created this shape is I will put a lot of slicers on the same shape, which means what I'll do is, let me click outside, bring the slicer. In this slicer, I will put my city names. Restaurant city. Okay, and in this, I will create this as a slicer setting selection. Okay, 1 second. Did I create a new slicer? Yes. Let me create a normal slicer. Go here, make it a drop down. Okay. I've created one slicer where I can go ahead and select the city. I'm just putting the slicer on this particular shape that I've created. Okay. So for this slicer, if I go here, title, header icons, values, slicer header, making the slicer header bold so that it is clearly visible that what it is slicing for. Similarly, I'll just copy this, paste it. This is my second slicer where I'm creating a slicer for the restaurant name. Okay, this is for the city. This is for the restaurant. If I rename it for understanding, rest. Okay. And lastly, I will just copy paste this same thing and I'll create one more slicer. Okay. And in this slicer, I will put rating. Okay. So I've created 3 slicers. One slicer is to select for city. One slicer is select for restaurant. One is to select rating, so that you will be able to see these 3 here. Now, what you can do is you can put slices normally on your page. Like you can go ahead and select any city particularly from here, and all the visuals will be filtered based on that. Okay. Similarly, you can go ahead and select a particular restaurant, and that particular restaurant will be filtered here. So these are all the slices that you added. Now the point is that if I don't have a lot of space, like you can clearly see, I don't have a lot of space on my page to put this slicer. Now what I want is I want to customize this. Okay, first of all, general effects, shadow. Okay, this particular slicer, this particular image or this particular shape on top of which I have added all my slices. I want to put it in this form that if I click a button, all of this show up. If I click another button, it just goes away. Okay. So that this whole area that it is consuming, it doesn't consume that. As well, along with that, it is anyways fulfilling the purpose of creating 3 slices on the entire dashboard. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go to image. I have made few logos here. Okay. Making it more short. Okay. Similarly, there is another image. Okay. So what exactly is this? I want that the moment I select this, okay, these are same. Hmm. So there is one up arrow and there is one down arrow. What I want is the moment I click on up arrow, everything just hides. And when I click on down arrow, everything just starts showing up. Okay. Because of this, I will be able to just manage the coming and going. Again, the same concept of using bookmarks where you have to hide this particular slicers and buttons. And if you click on it and you can customize this particular image, this is not a button. You can see this is an image. Image can also be customized in the similar form of button can be customized. Okay. So I'll go to view, filter, bookmark, and selection. Okay. So what do we have to do is, let me just quickly see. So firstly, I'll have to create a group because I want that the moment I click on something, everything appears and everything disappears. So first of all, it should know what is everything for you. So I'll select this particular slicer, then this particular slicer. Oh, 1 second. It's tough to select when you have a lot of visuals. Okay, so I'm not selecting this one. Let me select somewhere outside. Okay, control is pressed and I'm selecting first of all the up button. Okay, then I'm selecting my first slicer. I'm selecting my second slicer and I'm selecting my third slicer. Again, I have to do that. Let me select somewhere outside. Because it's very small for me to see. First slicer, second slicer, third slicer, upper button, and this whole shape. Everything that you want to group, you have selected all of that. Okay. How do you confirm that? You can see here, it is showing that these have been selected. The up button and all the visuals. And I'll right click on this and I'll say create a group. Okay. Now all of these have been categorized into one group. Now if I unhide this, see everything is gone. And if I hide this, sorry, unhide this, everything comes up. This is exactly what you have to do. Okay. When you unhide this, this is a bookmark, which is hiding. I'll name this as hide. Okay. And if I unhide this one and hide this particular button, this is show. Okay. So I've created two bookmarks. What I'll do is I will use this. This is an image. Okay. For this particular image, I will make it as on and click on bookmark and add the show one. Okay. Similarly, I'll go to this visual, not this one. This button. Go to this. Action is on. What is the action? Bookmark, and it should hide. Let's just see what happens. Let's see if it works or not. Okay. This is gone. This comes up. This is gone again, and this comes up. Okay. So our work is done. I'll just maybe make these go, and that's it. Okay. So now if I click on this button, this is gone. And when I click on this button, it again comes up. If you want, you can make these all come at the same place so that it looks like it's the same button itself. Yeah. So if I click here, it shows. If I click here, it just shows up. So similarly, you can do that. I just gave you one example yesterday also. I just gave you one example today also, so that you'll be able to understand that you can categorize multiple or even a single slicer according to a button or an image and add such actions using bookmarks. If you don't have space or if you want to customize things like on click, it should show, on click, it should not show. This is how you can do that. Okay. So our 3 pages are created. We have an overview page where we have a description about the most important KPIs. Then there is specific page for user, and then there is specific page for city performance. Okay. What I'll do quickly is I'll create one more page and I'll call this as an index page. This would be my first page. Okay. And I'll put this on my phone. In this page, I'll go to insert, go to image. I have one image. This one. Okay. Oh, the image is too large. Did that happen? Canvas background, let me add like this, not like the image, like a background. Now it should work. Okay, and I'll make it fit. Okay, so this is my index page that I'll be creating. And in this, I'll just go ahead, add a blank button. And in this blank button, I just want to add a button which will be used to go to my first page. Okay, go to style, text, and I'll call it dashboard. Okay, make it bold, fill it. Okay, so what I've done is I just created a button. I'll go to this button, add an action to this button as page navigation because it has to go to my overview page. Cool. So this is my dashboard created. I'll go to the particular button, click here, control click, and it will take me to my first page. Similarly, you see, I created these buttons. So you can go ahead, customize these buttons as well. Add an action to this button so that it takes you to the user performance. And similarly for this one, I can add an action so that it takes me to the city performance. Okay. Okay. We've created all of these. Now let's just see how it will look. So your first page would be looking like this, where you can click on this particular button, dashboard. It takes you to this particular page where you have the overall KPIs regarding your data. You have the option to go ahead and see your second page, which is the user performance. And similarly, you can customize it on every page. I'm just doing it for one in the interest of time. And finally, you can do this here and you can go to the city performance as well. So you are able to understand not only overall, but on specific user basis and on the city performance, how has been the company performing. So these are some KPIs that you build across your 4 pages of your dashboard. And this is a complete dashboard comprising of multiple pages. Each page is showing different information. If you could have put everything in one page, it would have been a very clumsy dashboard. But here you can clearly see with the help of images, icons, text, dashboarding in terms of what format or what theme you're using, you're able to see it makes a lot of difference. And putting everything into a visual is something you can do very easily. But how can you make it more interesting to just see and understand a lot of things is actually what is dashboarding. Okay. So I'll close this class here. This is your project. Again, folks, before adding this project in resume, make sure you do it on your own. There are a lot of complex things and advanced things. Just because I work on Power BI very explicitly, I'm able to create these like this. But it will take some time for you to understand the DAX that we have used, to understand how we have created these advanced filters and measures and visuals. Only when you are confident about that and you have created everything on your own, then add this in your resume. Okay.
So that is what we had for all of you in this amazing video. I hope you have learned the end-to-end implementation of the sales dashboard using the Power BI, and if you found it informative, then make sure to give a like in the big numbers. Share the next project which you want from our side in the comment section. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon, and don't forget to enroll yourself in the Tableau projects for data analyst with certification preparation bootcamp. Live classes starting from 24th of August. Enrollment link and the early bird offer code has been given in the description, or you can visit www.growdataskills.com to be a part of this bootcamp. Hurry up and we will see you in the live classes.